Okay, so have you ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and just felt that sudden knot in your stomach? You work hard, you make decent money, and yet you find yourself staring at your balance, literally wondering where it all vanished to. If you're nodding your head right now, believe me, you are not alone. Today, we're going to use this explainer to unpack exactly why this happens, and we'll look at the hidden spending habits that are quietly draining your hard-earned cash without you even noticing. It's the ultimate financial mystery, isn't it? You feel totally stuck despite having what should be a comfortable amount of discretionary income. But here's the truth. Your money isn't just mysteriously evaporating. It's actually being slowly siphoned off by hidden enemies in our everyday finances. We're talking about subtle psychological traps designed to separate you from your wealth just a few dollars at a time. They're basically invisible if you don't know what to look for, but once you see them, you can stop them right in their tracks. So let's dive into the source material and expose the three specific invisible traps we're conquering today: buy now, pay later, the subscription block hole, and lifestyle creep. Let's get right into it. Trap number one: buy now, pay later. This modern convenience has absolutely taken online shopping by storm. According to our source data, a staggering 50% of young consumers now actually prefer this over traditional credit cards just to avoid dropping a lump sum upfront. But here's the really dangerous side of that statistic. Nearly 60% of people admit they use it to finance purchases they simply couldn't afford otherwise. It creates a complete illusion of purchasing power. Think about it like this comparison right here. Breaking a $200 jacket into four smaller payments of $50 dramatically lowers your psychological barrier to buying. When you see $200, your brain immediately registers the financial impact, but four easy payments of $50, it feels almost like free money. You just don't feel the immediate pain of real cash leaving your checking account. And that makes it incredibly easy to click checkout on things you honestly do not need. The true danger really hits when you start stacking these loans. You grab a jacket here, maybe some food delivery there, toss in a new headset. Before you know it, you are juggling all these different payment schedules. Because of this chaos, 29% of buy now, pay later users fall straight into hidden late fees. On top of that, the data shows these borrowers often have lower liquidity and show signs of financial distress compared to people who don't use these services at all. The trap is very, very real. Knowing how to defend yourself is absolutely crucial. And the best defense we have is the 24-hour rule. Basically, you need to force a mandatory waiting period on any purchase over $100. By just stepping away from the screen for a full day, you give your brain time to break that emotional impulse. When you come back 24 hours later, you can look at it logically and ask yourself if you actually need the item or if you were just chasing the thrill of a frictionless purchase. All right, moving on to trap number two, the subscription black hole. We're living in a subscription economy, and these recurring micropayments are quietly draining our accounts month after month. To understand why we don't just, cancel things we aren't using, we have to look at the sunk cost fallacy. This is when you keep paying for a service, like that old gym membership you never go to, simply because you've already invested money into it, even if it brings you zero value today. Companies totally rely on this emotional guilt to keep you paying. And then, of course, there's that overly optimistic mentality. How many times have you looked at a charge and told yourself, oh, well, I'll definitely use it next month? This mindset totally tricks consumers into prolonging entirely unnecessary payments. We cling to this hope of future use, viewing the cancellation as somehow losing out on potential benefits, even when our actual usage has dropped to literal zero. To actually escape this trap, you can't just rely on your memory. You need a solid system. The data suggests doing regular audits of your bank statements, but honestly, even better, leverage technology. There are fantastic apps out there, things like Truebill, Bobby, or Rocket Money, that connect directly to your accounts, automatically track every recurring charge, and some can even cancel what you don't use on your behalf. It takes the emotional friction right out of the equation for you. Which brings us to our third and final trap: lifestyle creep. This phenomenon is so insidious, and the source material points out that it frequently targets young adults experiencing rapid career advancement. Here's the core mechanic. As your income goes up, say you get a promotion or you finally pay off a student loan, your spending increases at the exact same rate. Those things that used to be luxuries suddenly feel like absolute baseline necessities to project your new social status. A nicer car or maybe a much more expensive gym quickly becomes your new normal. Because this silent inflation is so incredibly subtle, you might not even realize it's happening until you finally look at your finances and notice you're struggling to save. Or worse, your debt is actually climbing, despite the fact that you are earning significantly more money than you did 3 years ago. You're making more, but you are not getting any wealthier. The absolutely best proactive solution derived from our financial sources is to set a hard cap on your lifestyle expenses. When you get a raise, automate that extra income directly into your savings or investments before it ever even hits your checking account. You have to starve the lifestyle creep of its fuel so it doesn't even stand a chance. Okay, so now that we've exposed the psychology behind these 3 traps, let's talk about your 7-day money reset plan to take back control. If you take these 3 distinct actions derived from our research over the next 7 days, you can immediately regain control of your cash flow. First, enforce that 24-hour rule on anything over $100 to kill those impulse buys. Second, dedicate just 1 hour this weekend to a ruthless audit and cancel those guilt trip subscriptions. And third, set a strict budget limit right now to ensure your growing income is actually building wealth rather than just funding a slightly fancier lifestyle. Awareness is absolutely the first step to keeping more of your own money. Remember, building wealth isn't just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. So I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these 3 invisible money traps affects you the most? Identify it and take the first step toward your financial reset this week. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.